Here's 5 defenses. I'm going to start here in Week 11. The first one's the Los Angeles Chargers. They got a great matchup, obviously, versus the New York Jets. Joe Flacco's going to start. I said go get the Chargers a week ahead of time. So if you did, they're going to have a good game. There's just no way around it that the Chargers, I think, have a bad game here on defense. I think Flacco, he's good for a turnover or two. And their 1 week rental at defense here is the Chargers. But I think they have a good game. They're going to get to the quarterback. They're going to make some plays. And they might actually finally win a game, which they've only done twice the whole year. So go out there and get the Chargers D and put them in your starting lineup. The next defense I'm starting is the Minnesota Vikings. They've been playing pretty stout and pretty decent now the last few weeks with 7, 9, and 14 fantasy points on Monday Night Football versus Chicago. Now they got a great matchup once again here versus the Dallas Cowboys, who give up the 3rd most fantasy points to defenses. I know Andy Dalton's back, but it don't matter to me. Dalton, I think his best years are behind him anyway. A lot of short passes and bogus routes the Cowboys were running in his start versus Arizona. So Dalton, I don't think he's going to be great. He was on the COVID list. He came off a concussion as well. So Dalton, he's going to turn the ball over a few times. They're going to get to him. He's not mobile. So I love the matchup for Minnesota. And I could definitely see them get double-digit fantasy points here on defense. So go out there and start them. The next defense here is the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to keep saying start these guys until they're owned universal. They're owned in 78% of leagues. But this is a team getting to the quarterback, making plays on special teams with block punts, kick return touchdowns. And now they got an amazing matchup here versus the Denver Broncos in Week 11, who give up the 2nd most fantasy points to defenses. And I think the Dolphins, they're going to get to Drew Lock if he's starting early and often. They're going to stop the running game, which has been non-existent anyway for the Broncos in the last 3 weeks with Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay. So I love the matchup for Miami. Then they got the Jets next week as well. So if they're out there somehow in your leagues, you go out there and get the Dolphins and put them in your lineup each and every week. The next defense I like is the Cleveland Browns to start here. They're versing the Philadelphia Eagles, who Carson Wentz, he's been a turnover machine. Philly, they haven't been scoring points really as well. This game is also in Cleveland. The weather could be bad as well in this one. So if it's windy or there's hail, heavy storms, or whatever the case is, it's going to be even more of a plus matchup here for Cleveland. I think they'll get to Wentz. Wentz, he's been sacked the most in the league at the quarterback position. And I think we're going to see more of the same here this week. So I like their defense as a start. And the 5th and final defense I'm going to go out there and try to start this week is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Washington football team. I think the Bengals, for some reason, they're going to get to Alex Smith. They're going to get to him early and often. Their defense, I know it hasn't played well, and they had -4 points versus Pittsburgh. But this Washington team, they're going to have to fight for their yards. Alex Smith, he don't throw the ball deep, even though Terry McLaurin's a great receiver, and he's going to get his points and yards. But I think Cincinnati, they're going to have a decent fantasy game where they can maybe get 10-plus fantasy points, and they're definitely a sleeper this week at the defensive position. So that's 5 defenses I'm going to start here in Week 11.